welcome once again to In the Hot Seat with Deborah Fennella and Anthony James Mattocks. We're really excited to be back here in the studio and also to introduce our very first guest this year. Now, he's multi-talented. His name is Christopher Blake Newhart. He is also the founder of Guerrilla Mafia Entertainment. He's also part of Soul Central Awards, Soul Central Magazine, Soul Central Radio, I'm a Superwoman campaign and Sheroes. And the list goes on, to be honest, because he's so multi-talented. He's interviewed so many celebrities over the years as well, including Jackie Chan. So welcome, Christopher Newhart. How are you today? And welcome, Anthony James Mattocks in Scotland. So we're all the way across to Utah as well as Scotland. How are you?
Heck yeah. Happy blessed day. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you all as always.
You're very welcome. And Anthony, we're really excited to have you on the show, aren't we, Anthony?
Yes, to see my man's together here.
I know, the only thing that's missing is obviously my Wonder Woman top. I haven't got one. Because I know that you are an avid fan, but I'll let Anthony talk more about Comic-Con because he loves all of that anyway. But I would like to go back to the very beginning, actually, with you, Chris. As a child growing up, I mean, you love entertaining people, you love interviewing people, you are a socialite and multi-talented as well. You know, going back as a child growing up, did you envisage that your life would be the way it is now, you know, with everything that you do? Or was it something that you wanted to do to go down the sort of TV, film, music and entertainment industry?
Wow, that's a great question. To be honest, my earliest memory being in elementary school, I wanted to be a cop.
Bless
yeah. So, and when I was in high school, I actually was zoned for Lake Howell High School, but Winter Springs High School had Army JROTC, so Lake Howell had Air Force, and I wanted to eventually join the Army. So I went to Winter Springs High School and did JROTC. And then when I got out, I went through MEPS and I passed everything. And then I met my wife, and she said she was a military brat and, you know, didn't really want to, you know, go through that. And suggested that we like work on our own businesses. So I didn't pursue the military, and we started doing our own businesses. And yeah, I mean, you know, as a kid growing up, I was always super fascinated with like MTV and VH1 and music videos and the pop-up videos. I loved on VH1 when they had pop-up videos. You know, I don't know if people remember that, but they, you know, had the little information about, you know, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that most people wouldn't know about the music video unless you were on set, and little interesting trivia facts and stuff. But I always was very fascinated with entertainment and celebrities and athletes and music. I mean, I was born in '84. You know, I used to not like to let people know my age, but now I'm like super proud of it. Like I really miss the '80s. It was definitely one of the greatest decades I believe to, you know, be alive in. But yeah, I was, you know, definitely saturated with a lot of that, and so I didn't really, you know, going back and, you know, looking at it now, I would never, you know, dream that I would have, you know, met Kanye West or Jackie Chan or Nicki Minaj, Mark Zuckerberg. You know, me and my wife covered the United Nations. She was also with me when we met Jackie Chan, and just had an amazing life. It's, you know, been amazing and charmed and blessed, and I'm super grateful and super humble, and it's been an amazing journey. Like at the core of it, I've always been an entrepreneur. My parents, you know, were entrepreneurs, and so you know, we came out here to Utah for a fresh new life, a lower cost of living, higher pay rate at the time. Definitely lots, you know, newer and safer and cleaner and different, you know. So we came out here and started our coffee shop with just a little hole in the wall place. Yeah, Nicki Minaj.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah,
She's
literally, like
amazing.
you see the girl in front of me, and then there's security, and then there's Nicki. I was literally
Yes,
like two
you
people
know.
away.
Did Gwen go with you as well to see Nicki Minaj?
What's that?
Did Gwen go with you as well, Chris, to see Nicki Minaj?
Yeah, she was actually there as well. Yeah, that was in Colorado at the Pepsi Center during the Pink Print tour. I think, yeah, that was a good like 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. Maybe long. No, I think it's been longer than that. But yeah, that was amazing. That was a dream come true. Like, you know, I've always looked up to Nicki and Lil Wayne, Cash Money. You know, my brother Caskey, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, who just got the #1 hip hop and rap album on iTunes in the whole world. But yeah, that was a dream come true, meeting Nicki Minaj. Like, basically, you know, what my message, you know, try and tell people is anything's possible, no matter how big it is. You know, how big up the person is. All you gotta do is just try, and you never know what could happen. Could end up 10 times better than you imagine. That was me with Princess Diana's dress. When the owner of the dress brought her dress out and her bomb-proof vest that she wore on her missions to Africa, you know, trying to get up landmines and everything. But that was, you know, I I couldn't believe that. You know, I was like, you know, in the presence of, you know, royalty, like her essence and her energy, and she was an angel on earth. I mean, I never would have a million years thought I'd been, you know, anything around anything that she touched or, you know, was a part of. And everyone was, you know, in awe of her. I believe it was a Versace blue dress, but the bomb-proof vest is what I was in awe of. You know, she was like a real superwoman, Wonder Woman. You know, like she risked her life and didn't have to. You know, so, but yeah, I mean, I would never imagine that. You know, I would come across the people in the world that I have. I've been around billionaires and people that change gas prices and go to war. And you know, me and my wife covered the United Nations first time meeting out of New York here in Salt Lake City a few years ago. And we met with, you know, dignitaries and kings and queens and generals of militaries and just, you know, a whole different kind of caliber of people. So it's been an amazing journey. And how it all kicked off was, you know, we started our Irie Coffee, Teas, and Bobos. Shout out Caskey, who we interviewed at Irie Coffee, Teas, and Bobos. But yeah, we opened up our little shop, and what I think it was, I think that's still in West Jordan, Utah. But our first location was just a small little location. And my wife went to high school in Japan, and her father was a photographer for the Bush family, so she's traveled a lot. And she was like, "Oh, let's make Bobos," and I was like, "All right, cool," you know. So next thing you know, we got into Comic-Con out here, which is, you know, really big to not with just celebrities but cosplay and people dressing up as, you know, superheroes and villains too, you know, but a lot of them dress up as superheroes and actually, like, you know, feed the homeless and do clothing drives and school supply drives, and then start doing Dan Farr put on the first ever Fanex out here. And with that, you know, there's a lot of people in the community that, you know, love, you know, all kinds of movies and TV shows and get to go there and meet their people that they've looked up to since childhood, you know. So there was this one lady, and she had a comic character like company that she would employ cosplayers to go to like birthday parties and you know, events like that. So we were like, hey, why don't we, you know, why doesn't Gwen interview her about it at Irie's place? And so I recorded it, and we threw it up, and next thing you know, it just started getting a lot of views. I think it got like over like 10,000 views, like really quick.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
yeah, like within a couple of months or something, like really quick. And so we're like, you know, hey, let's do that again. That was fun, you know. So we interviewed her again, and she brought another friend. So she was dressed up as Cinderella, I think the first time, and my wife was, you know, having tea with her and called it tea time with the Empress, and because my wife goes by Empress Rude. Yes. And so she was interviewing her, and then the next time she brought her friend, and her friend was dressed up as Tinkerbell from Peter Pan, and she interviewed both of them. And then we just kept it going, and then I started my own show called the Yo Son Show, because that was my name in high school, because I was always like, yo son, after Scary Movie, Marlon Wayans was always like, yo son, yo son, yo son. So yeah, so I had the Yo Son Show, and I just go cover events that my wife couldn't cover because she was, you know, busy working at the restaurant. So I would try and bring people in, she would interview, and then I would go out to events and cover things, and then we just put it together under our production company, Guerrilla Mafia Entertainment, and we started our own YouTube channel and Instagram, and just started covering things that we love, and started getting press passes. You know, I just started applying, you know, to places and being like, hey, could we come cover your event as press? And once we started getting that, I was like, wow, you know. And then when we got the press passes to come cover Silicon Slopes and Mark Zuckerberg, each pass I think was like $200. So they gave us 2 of them, so that was like $400. And I was like, wow, they really believe enough in our company to, like, you know, let us come and broadcast, you know, their image and likeness, you know, on our network. So yeah, and then one of my friends was like, yeah, Jackie Chan's gonna be doing an art exhibit around the world, and the first place in America that he's gonna do it is Salt Lake City, Utah, at the Leonardo Museum. And I was like, wow, do you think you get me in as press? And my wife, and he's like, yeah, but you know, can't guarantee you get an interview. And I was like, you don't need to, just get us in, you know, we'll do the rest.
So how did you feel when you actually first met Jackie Chan? Was that like a tree for you? Was he like your inspiration? I mean, he's a phenomenal actor. He's been in, you know, many movies as well. So how did you feel when you actually first met him, Chris?
Oh, I felt like a little kid. I mean, you know, and to me, that's the best feeling, is, you know, keep that inner child alive and that magic alive, and hope and love and light. But I've met some celebrities that, you know, weren't, you know, what you looked up, what you thought of, you know, so like, you know, hurts sometimes, but it is what it is. That's life, and that's people and their decisions. But Jackie Chan, he was amazing, humble, super nice, super funny. It was crazy. I was back against the wall, all the way in the back, you know, with all this international press, and, you know, CNN and you know, China press, and just all this, you know, press, and he was on stage and talking, and then they're like, does anyone have any questions for Jackie? And no one raised their hand, and I was just kind of being respectful, and, you know, gave everyone a second, but I didn't see no one's hand, so I just started running down the aisle, and Jackie Chan acted like he was going to throw me his microphone, and he was like, catch, you know, but someone handed me the microphone, and I was like, you know, this is Chris Newhart, GME, Soul Central Magazine. This question's for Jackie Chan. You know, what are you excited for the future in the next 5 to 10 years? And he just went off for like 5 minutes and just kept talking and talking, and it was amazing. I was just like in awe, and just, you know, listening to everything he said. And he said something about how he like appreciated how like journalists like me cover positive things, because a lot of the news covers a lot of negative things. So
that's so true.
Yeah, and it was just so amazing to have that interaction with him. And then next thing I know, I turn around and there's like a line of people trying to ask him a question, and they let this little kid behind me ask him a question. After that, they closed it, and I looked to his photographer and I was like, hey, can I get a picture with Jackie Chan? And he was like, sure. And I was like, wow, could you take it with my phone? You know?
I've seen it all on social media. Now, I know that Anthony's really excited to ask you some questions about Comic-Con.
Heck yeah.
Are both wearing your Superman t-shirts as well. So, Anthony, what would you like to ask Chris about Comic-Con?
Well, first it's about Utah, because obviously Salt Lake City and Utah is famous for only one thing, and that's the Osmonds.
Yes.
So obviously Utah is famous for Chris Newhart now.
Heck yeah.
Well, Chris is a celebrity.
So Osmonds and Chris Newhart.
That Scooter Cooper, one of Post Malone's videographers right there. And Caskey of Cash Money.
And you got
You
your
said
suit
you're,
there as well.
Heck yeah, this suit's been everywhere.
You said you're brought up in the 80s, Chris, but I was brought up in the 60s. But going back to MTV, can you remember the very first video that was played on MTV?
The very first one ever?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm sure I witnessed it, but I don't remember it.
It was a British band. And it was called The Buggles. Video killed the radio star.
Oh, I remember that song.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck
What a
yeah.
classic video to start it all off.
I'm sure I was running around dancing to that. I love that song. So I know I had to see the music video.
So I started it all off. And then the Queen Bohemian Rhapsody, that was supposed to be the very first music video, but there's videos going back to the 60s kind of thing. So that was the most, the famous one for selling a record, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wow.
So a lot of people were a wee bit off that because it was like 11 minutes long. So they're kind of, I don't want to play this record anymore. 11 minutes. But once it got big, they wanted to play it.
Yeah, once when music videos were like movies, you know, it was.
That's right, yeah.
Don't forget.
And Michael Jackson, his videos were like movies, like Thriller. The whole video is brilliant.
For real.
Black and white with Macaulay Culkin. That was all good as well. It's like, what a waste. But there's a lot of memories left there. As you, Chris, what do you do actually with Soul Central magazine? Are you the editor there? Do you get pictures, interviews, what?
Yeah, so it was so amazing. I was and still am a part of this organization called Shiro's, and the CEO, Commander Celeste Gleave, she had a really impressive military career, and she started her own charity organization, and it was to help mainly women and children and also men, and didn't exclude men in any way. And so I started helping out with their social media and just kind of reaching out to anyone and everyone that would listen and try and get people involved and a part of it in one way or another. And so I reached out to Mark Rowe, the CEO of Soul Central magazine, and he actually was the first one to reach back out to me and talk to me about it and ask me about it. And I woke up the next day and he did a story on it and did some pictures and stuff, and it just blew my mind, like, how beautiful of a person that he is and was, and did that, and didn't charge me anything. Like a lot of people don't know, but a lot of people are like, oh, look, I'm in a magazine, and usually you have to pay for that, and you have to pay a lot, depending on how long the magazine's been around, what kind of audience and influence they have, and stuff like that. So for him to just do an article that quick and put it up like that, was really mind-blowing to me. So it was funny. He was watching what me and my wife was doing, and we started talking. He's like, you guys do so much. He's like, why don't you guys be journalists for Soul Central magazine, and we benefit each other. I get him really good stories and kind of help get us, our production company and restaurant, kind of out there and well known, and one hand washed the other, and we just helped each other and believed in each other and love each other, and it didn't always have to be celebrities. That's what I loved about Mark Rowe and Soul Central magazine is I would cover a lot of charity events, which a lot of major news doesn't do, even when the charities let them know what's going on. So I kind of came up in that and met a lot of really cool, influential people doing charity work. And that's another person I met through Shiro's and doing charity work with them was the Attorney General, Sean Reyes of the state of Utah. And he's, you know, I don't normally get into politics or endorse anyone or, you know, anything like that. But, you know, as a brother, you know, he's always treated me great and our community great and the cosplay community great. But yeah, you know, I would cover charity events. Mark Rowe would throw it up. You know, I'd cover Alex Boyer, who's kind of big over on your side of the pond. He did a music video, he did the song Lion King, and I think he was part of the song Frozen, and a couple other big songs that had like over 100 million views on YouTube. And he came out here and shot a music video, actually in my backyard in Harriman, about suicide.
Exciting.
Yeah, and I was actually our company was part of getting people for the music video, covering it for our media company in Seoul Central, and then I actually got to be in the music video with Alex Boyer.
I saw some photos actually, Chris, on social media because you did share a few of them. And they look really good fun.
What's that?
I saw some of your photos that you shared on social media of being in the music video, and it looks like you had a real fun day.
Yeah, it was amazing because there was a lot of people there that, you know, survived suicide, you know, parents of people that lost children to suicide, or brothers or fathers, mothers, you know. So it was a beautiful, you know, music video because it was music with a purpose. You know, it's not, yes. You know, it was very powerful, and I was so grateful to be a part of, you know, music that matters like that. And that's what I love about Mark Rowe and Soul Central, and we've been covering stuff, you know, for years, and then, you know, lo and behold, here comes Princess Diana's dress, you know, when the United Nations comes out. So, you know, Mark Rowe was so happy, and I was so happy, and
we've got Soul Central Radio, hasn't he, as well? Soul Central TV. I mean,
yeah.
He's multi-talented, Mark, and like you say, he does a lot of work for charity. And also he set up the Soul Central Awards, which has been going now for a few years, hasn't it? Have you had the opportunity to actually go over to Las Vegas, you know, do some presenting at the awards?
Yeah, me and my wife were presenters, and we actually interviewed a few people there and asked them where they were from and you know, what they were doing. And you know, and we actually talked to some people that won awards, and we got to talk to Big Percy, Snoop Dogg's manager, which was, yeah, that was pretty cool. And Floyd Mayweather came out and brought his mom. Was it? Yeah, I think it was Floyd Mayweather. It was, I think so. Yeah, he's like one of the biggest boxers that lives in Vegas. He brought his mom, and
wow,
and that was amazing. And yeah, like
there's some pictures from Mark's, you know, online. There's an online magazine, but you can actually purchase it as well, can't you?
There's me and my wife right there.
Oh yes, I can see
the top right. Yeah.
I mean, Mark works really long hours, doesn't he? You know, he started the actual magazine on his own, and you know, he puts in countless hours each day, and he's really worked hard to build his business up. And to spread his light around the world and to report good news, which is another thing that I love about Mark and what he does. Because we need to hear positive and good news, because there's so much good going on in the world, and unfortunately we don't always hear about it. So that's where obviously Mark gives people the platform to shine bright and share that positive news globally, which is really good, isn't it?
For real. That's what I love about him, is that he shows such positive stuff and not all that negative stuff, and tries to bring hope to anyone and everyone. And it's like he works with anyone, you know, and a lot of times doesn't even charge a lot of people. You know, so it's a beautiful magazine. You know, definitely. You know, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely, you know, subscribe and get your monthly issue, because, like you say, it covers such beautiful things, and from around the world, not just London. You know, not just Utah here, like from around the world. You know, Africa, Brazil, Canada. Like he's always got something different,
doesn't he? For the African orphan children, he does a lot of work. Supporting them, and obviously donating like shoes and clothes and all the things that they need as well. I mean, just like Princess Peace with Panache Global Entertainment Awards, which I'm part of the executive team, I mean, they've just opened up now International Global Entertainment Awards over in Africa, and Princess Peace is out there now doing amazing work. So Mark does exactly the same, doesn't he? He supports and the orphanage. I know he did a piece on the orphanage children, didn't he? And he and he donated a lot of clothes and lots of shoes and, you know, like pencils and pens and stationery for the children. They were just so excited, bless them, because there's always someone less fortunate than ourselves, isn't there? So it's always good to count our blessings. And there's so many people in the world that need help, but Mark does phenomenal work. So do you.
For real. Shout out Mark Rowe.
Most definitely. Now, I would like to ask you about, obviously, Comic-Con, and who's obviously been your sort of huge icon over the years that you've been going, haven't you, Anthony?
Well, as you said earlier, Chris, you were brought up in the 80s. Myself, I was brought up in the 60s. And I was born in 62. And a very famous character came out in 63, who's still going to this day, Doctor Who.
Heck yeah. Doctor Who is huge here in Utah and FanX.
I was just wondering if there's any blue telephone boxes spread out around the place.
Oh yeah, everywhere. Like I got tons of pictures inside of it, outside of it, with all different kinds of characters, and I've seen the show myself. I had time to watch like one season of it, and the season that I saw of it, and the character that embodied the Doctor of, you know, because it's kind of like James Bond. It's like the same character but switches up, you know, different people over. Yeah. But the version that I saw of it, I forget the exact year of it and the name of the actor, but I really enjoyed it and really loved it, and it's really a great show. People in America haven't seen it yet, but people in Utah love and definitely see it, know of it.
Doctor Who is major in America. There was a character, an actor called Sylvester McCoy, who changed into Paul McGann, and that was all filmed in America, the whole series. Well, it's one movie, and that was filmed in America, that one series.
Yeah.
Paul McGann just did the one thing, and then it introduced it to the next generation, who went on to be Christopher Eccleston, and that started the bringing the younger viewers back into it again. But I'm going right back to William Hartnell, the very first one in '63. Now, a major hero.
Anthony, sorry to interrupt. Wasn't that black and white back then? I mean, I remember as a child with the Daleks. They used to really scare me. But then I Ace Dalek, and he's got a Dalek. I expect maybe you know him, Anthony, don't you? Ace Dalek, and interviewed him on the radio, and he's hilarious. So wasn't you scared of the Daleks then, no?
No, I was right into the horrors, the Hammer House of Horrors, way back in the 70s. That's why I was a horror. But, as I say, Doctor Who was like a major thing to me. And now, the power of Facebook, I've actually got one of my major heroes from Doctor Who days, Fraser Hines, as a friend.
Yes, you have.
Wow.
And he was one of the second Doctor and third Doctor's assistants. And to have him as a friend is absolutely awesome. It's using the American word, awesome.
Awesome.
Also, the power of Facebook. Sorry, that one's going to cut off very shortly. The Evel Knievel, the American stuntman. Well, I'm actually friends with the British one, which is Eddie Kidd.
Wow.
And he's done a lot of jumps in America as well.
That's awesome. The power of social media is amazing.
It's like to have heroes as friends now, it's like unbelievable. Fraser Hines, Doctor Who, Emmerdale, Eddie Kidd, a lifetime hero. And then Duncan Norval, a comedian from the 80s as well. It's like all my heroes are friends now, and I just can't believe why.
And I think, like you say, that's the amazing effect that social media does have on us, and it gives us the opportunity to connect with these people. And like you say, they do become friends, so we're really lucky. And don't forget our lovely friend Elaine Elizabeth Presley, Elvis's daughter. So I've interviewed Liz now a few times on In the Hot Seat, so I'm going to get her back on the show. And Liz does phenomenal work herself. She does a lot of charity work. I know she's busy working on her album, and also L&L Publishing as well. So she's another inspiration. Now, who are you talking to in this video, Chris? Who's this gentleman that you're talking to?
That's Kevin Sorbo, aka Hercules.
I thought he's an actor.
At least I grew up, know him as Hercules. I know he's played a lot of other roles and a lot of other movies, and he's recently still doing stuff.
Was it in Farscape, Chris?
What's that?
Was it a sci-fi series called Farscape?
Yeah, I believe I've seen a little bit of that as well.
Yeah. Because sci-fi is my thing, as you know.
Heck yeah, mine too.
But also, Chris does like the supernatural, don't you, Chris? Because last time I interviewed you, you actually showed some footage of a spaceship, didn't you?
Oh yeah, from Roswell.
Yes. And I know Anthony would be interested in like the sci-fi and obviously, like the UFOs. It was actually a UFO, wasn't it, that you showed us? And we had some footage that you did actually send us across, and we showed it live on air, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, you captured it on camera, Anthony. It was amazing. Tell Anthony a little bit about that, Chris, please.
Yeah, I've been fascinated with UFOs since a child, and I'm pretty sure, I've witnessed, a couple, that I believe, at my age when I witnessed them, that because nowadays when you see something in the sky that goes really fast, you don't really know if it's ours or another country's and just some really advanced piece of technology, or is it extraterrestrial and something from out of this world? But back when I, encountered or, saw my experiences in the 80s and 90s or early 2000s, could have, possibly been, more man-made and piloted. But when I was a kid, the first unidentified flying object or unidentified aerial phenomenon, they like to call it nowadays, UAPs, it was just like going, and then was like gone in like a second, like just flew to infinity in like a second. My friend was there and I was like, did you see that? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, the human body back then, we definitely, I don't think, had technology to move that fast without turning into jello, so but I've researched it a lot and think it's interesting and definitely something's going on. And so we went and visited Roswell in New Mexico, and we went to the museum out there. And it was funny because I knew the crash didn't happen in Roswell. It happened in Corona on a farm, and the reason Roswell's famous is because that was the closest military installation for them to cart the wreckage to see what it is about. And the closest base was an Air Force base. And so they took it to Roswell. But while looking in the museum, there was like eyewitness testimonies. There's a record room and all these pictures on the wall. You don't even have to look. There's a record room with all these records that you can look in and stuff. But they have stuff that's on the wall with pictures of generals and people that were there that night. The pilot that flew the Enola Gay that dropped the 2 A bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki was there that night to give his opinion. They actually woke him up and brought him out there, and some other higher ranking officials. And back then they said this happened. There was a UFO that crashed. Like. It wasn't a conspiracy theory, so I don't understand how, all these years later, it's like, oh, did this happen or not? Like, no, it happened. Let's, move on and ask other questions. But so through looking at the museum, we found a map where it had the location in a file somewhere that was hard to find, and and it showed where the crash site was. So we went out there and saw this huge crater, you know, in the middle of nowhere. And then as we were driving back down the road, I was like, you know, if this is real, which I believe it is, you know, this is the road that would have carted the UFO, you know, back down towards the base. So as we were leaving and the sun went down, right away we experienced, I believe, a total of like 7 different UFOs. Like there was like 2 that looked kind of similar, and then it was like 5 different experiences. Like all of a sudden, once it was dark, there was this huge ball of light just lit up the sky like it was day again and was gone. And my brother-in-law was driving, and he was a skeptic and, you know, never experienced anything like that and lives out there, you know, but doesn't normally travel out to the Roswell area, but he doesn't live too far either. But and we just started experiencing things, and we were supposed to go somewhere down a road and go towards this haunted town and check out, because we have a paranormal show where we investigate paranormal activity. And so he was pretty shook, and he was like, no, we're going home. Like, you know, he wanted to get off the road as soon as possible. But we got some pictures and some video footage, and it was like, I think that same trip, I think another trip when we went out there a second time, we caught some stuff, and I went Facebook Live, and I was like, yo, I'm live on Facebook. Like, I don't know how to, you know, fake, you know, live footage. Like, because people would say, oh, you caught it on your phone and faked it. Okay, well, explain how I'm faking it live, because a lot of things that I feel like humans still don't have the technology for is I see things that go like this and then go up fast. All this weird stuff really quickly and then goes off somewhere, you know, and it's like,
a bit like an anomaly as well, isn't it? When you got spiritual activity and a spirit comes into a room, you get the ball of anomaly, don't you? And then it manifests normally into a spirit being, doesn't it? So,
especially like out in the New Mexico, Arizona state area. Like Arizona, you know, has a lot of anomalies. Utah, Skinwalker Ranch, if you look into that. We actually went out to Skinwalker Ranch and experienced some wild stuff. And it's like, I believe there's, you know, definitely, you know, things going on out in the world that, you know, are definitely different and weird and on another plane of existence that, you know, that I don't know how to explain it, but, you know, nowadays there's more tools that can measure it better than what we had, you know, in the past, and ways of communicating with, you know, extraterrestrials or deceased, you know, and I haven't, but, you know, I mean, there's just so much out there, you know, that's just like really wild when you look into and investigate it yourself and experience things that you can't explain. You know, I've seen so many, you know, things, whether it's UFOs to miracles to, you know, evil acts of, you know, humanity, you know, but, you know, it's a wild world if you get out there and don't just watch TV and go to work, you know, and actually experience and travel and investigate and look into things yourself, you know, like find out what you love and go into that. You know, a lot of people just work their 9 to 5 and, you know, have a vacation once a year and just, you know, don't really experience life or the world too much. So, you know, I think one of the best educations is travel, to meet, you know, different people, different countries, different languages, different cultures, different music, different food, different fashion.
So have you ever been to London? Have you ever been to London yet, Chris?
I haven't.
Haven't you? You have to come over to London. We could always.
Yeah, I really need to, because I believe the cover of that Soul Central magazine, when I covered Kanye West and Princess Diana, that was like, I think Mark Rose 100th magazine. Yeah, it was a special edition, but I believe it got put in the British Museum, like archived and stuff. So it's like I need to go out there and actually see that issue in that magazine and be like, you know, I'm kind of like well known in London and I haven't even been there yet. Like,
love London. And Edinburgh as well.
Deborah's invited you to London, Chris. I'm now inviting you to Edinburgh. And you know what Edinburgh's famous for? We're famous for ghosts. We're actually called the ghost capital of the world.
Wow.
So,
I must admit, Gary and I are going to come and see you, Anthony, this year. We're going to come before, because we haven't been to Edinburgh. We really want to go.
Brilliant. So I'm going to send you a programme, Chris, about the ghosts of Edinburgh. And we've got like a hidden city under the city. It's all been like Mary King's Close, it's called. And it's supposed to be the most haunted place in Britain.
Have you been, Anthony?
So,
Chris,
I have been, yes.
Investigation now. You have been, have you?
For real.
It's like you hear a lot of screaming and voices in the walls kind of thing. It's a lot of Patrick Moore, I don't know if you know that name, is a famous British astronomer who did a lot of, he did the maps of the moon.
Yes.
Patrick Moore, he actually did the maps of the moon and actually met him and actually spoke to him about UFOs. And he always gets, had the same question millions and millions of times. If there's extraterrestrial out there, what are they going to be like? Are they going to be calm like E.T. or dangerous like Independence Day? And
but there's many ETs, isn't there, Anthony? If you actually research ETs, you've got the Nordics, haven't you? You know,
that's right, yeah.
Like high being, they're also classed as an extraterrestrial as well. Apparently, you're meant to have underwater extraterrestrials, which I never knew.
USOs, unidentified submerged objects.
Yeah. One of my friends, actually, she's an expert all about ETs, and her name's Shirley Batty. And she's a phenomenal lady. She's written many books as well. You have to check her out, Chris. She's on YouTube, and she knows so much about extraterrestrials and the mothership and everything else as well. So a fascinating lady and very interesting. So good read. And for you, Anthony, too.
Patrick Moore's answer to the what will the aliens be like? And his answer was the aliens from Cocoon. Humanoid, but with extra powers. So I've got quite a top answer. So there's no like all these like green aliens from Mars kind of thing, but there is people.
I thought E.T. was really great. I loved that when that came out. I mean, he was an alien, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
That's a fantastic movie from the 80s.
Well, the question was, what is E.T. short for? And it's because you've got wee legs. That was a joke. No, that's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some people say Encounters of the Third Kind was a true story.
Yes, that's another really good movie, actually, isn't it?
Yes. Richard Dreyfuss, a very good film.
It certainly
Spielberg,
is.
Again. See, Spielberg had a vision way back in the 70s. He's brought all these like great stories to us. And Back to the Future, Chris, like the promo video.
For real. That was one of my favorite. Not just movie ever, but movies, like 3 movies in a row. Back to the Future. I actually met Christopher Lloyd, who played Doc Brown.
Great Scott.
For real.
Now, Chris, I'd like to ask you about your brother. You said he was your brother, Caskey, because isn't his song, present song in the charts at the moment, you said? Is it number 1?
Yeah, so his album, This Isn't My Final Form, just became number 1 on iTunes and beat out, Post Malone and a whole bunch of big industry people that have their albums out right now on iTunes. Yes. And it's really impressive to me because Caskey isn't a big industry person. Like, he was Cash Money, but he didn't have that big industry push. Like Birdman just kind of let him do his own thing, and he never, really went that industry route. He kind of, kept it more like independent, just kind of, kept to himself and just, did his own thing. And he's been, I think this is his 20th album now, over 10 years.
Wow.
And he's not just a musician; he's also a painter. He paints. He's written 2 poetry books now. He makes all his own merch, and he's made a lot of merch from wallets to hats to T-shirts to sweaters to all kinds of stuff. So it's like he's a really all well-rounded artist. He's not just a rapper.
No. So have you done a bit of rapping with him though? Maybe get a bit of rapping. What do you reckon, Anthony?
Yeah.
Song. Jamie's going to do a bit of rapping in it, isn't he? Because I've written a song for Anthony, and Anthony's helped me as well for TN sufferers, and it's going to be the TN song. And our friend Jamie Long is going to do a bit of rapping in it, isn't he?
Heck yeah.
So, I spoke to you earlier, Chris, about the TN pain that I suffer from, the electric pains in the face. Now, I had 3 friends who actually lost their lives to suicide, as you were saying earlier. And I made a poster up because I thought, I'm fed up losing friends. I'm going to start a campaign for against suicide and bring suicide as an awareness. And then in 2018, I was diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia, which is called the suicide disease. And I'm thinking, I was obviously given it for a reason, to bring the world aware of this, to wake up the world to TN. So yes. With Deborah's song, we should wake up a lot more people, because there's so many people that doesn't know what TN is. And with major research that I've done, it goes back to 400 BC. It goes that far back. And there's still no cure. So it's like 2,500 years old, and people still don't know what it's called. Say to somebody what COVID is, and they'll tell you instantly what COVID is. It's only been around 3 years.
A lot of doctors don't even know what it is, though, Anthony. Do they really, when you think about it?
Well, I went to 3 doctors before they actually knew what it was. And the doctors I went to had to Google it.
Really?
They had no idea what I was talking about.
Oh, bless
you. I've been doing, me and my wife and family have been doing a lot for suicide awareness and anti-bullying, and I haven't heard of that. And in any way, we could be a part and help. Just let us know, because like through Comic-Con, or not Comic-Con, Fan X out here in Salt Lake City, Utah, we've gotten like a whole bunch of Power Rangers and a bunch of celebrities over the years to do a personal anti-bullying message and just try to help bring awareness to that, because I've lost a couple of friends to suicide, and one of them just really rocked me and really blew me away for a while, and so it's like any way we can let people know of how to get help or where to get help, and that there is people that actually do care, and programs and assistance and all that, so.
Well, the picture I'll share with you, Chris, actually brings superheroes into the actual suicide subject. So I'm sure you'll share this picture around, because every time I do a suicide campaign video, this picture always gets brought into it. Speaking about the Power Rangers, Deborah and I are actually friends with the stuntman for the Red Power Ranger.
Heck yeah.
Adam Richards, Deborah?
Yes, I do, most definitely. I've interviewed him, Adam, I think, on the radio. Going back a few years ago now. I remember the old sort of logo, Go Power Rangers, wasn't it?
Yes, for real. Yeah, it's crazy watching. See, bringing it back to one of those first questions you asked me about, being a kid and wondering if I was going to be in the entertainment industry like this so prevalently. It's like, it's so wild, to when I sit back and think about how many people and characters and shows I loved, and how I've met so many people from those shows. And then there's a lot of times at like these Fan X's and events, there's people that I don't even really know or have had time to watch their shows or their movies. And then I just interview them, because I'm not like, oh, they have to be, a certain type of way for me to interview them. I'll interview pretty much anyone, everyone, you know what I'm saying? And then I go back and a year later or something, I'm watching a movie or a TV show, because I did security at Sundance Film Festival for a good like solid 3 years before COVID hit, and I did security for Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, and the first person I did security for is Pierce Bronson, 007. And I was like, what am I, doing security for 007? He doesn't need me, you know what I'm saying?
So one thing I would like to ask you, have you actually got an autograph book? So when you meet all of these celebrities and then you get them to sort of like, sign your autograph book or have like selfies with them?
Well, could you repeat that?
Have you actually got an autograph book? So when obviously, you go to these events and you see the celebrities and you interview them, have you got an autograph book where you just ask them to write a few words and just sign it, or have a little selfie, sort of like photograph? Have you?
Yeah. I don't know why I haven't. It's funny because a lot of the time, I really just don't have, the gear to bring stuff for them to sign. I probably could get them just to sign my shirt or something, but a lot of times things are just moving so fast and everything that usually everyone I interact with, I usually get like a selfie or get someone to take a picture of us.
Yes.
If it's someone that, that has really impacted my life a lot, like Nicki Minaj or some other people, I do have some hand signed stuff from them.
Yes.
But yeah, like I need to like get like a journal or a notebook or something that I just carry around, be like, could you sign this? And then like years later, just looking through all of it and be like,
I think it's wonderful when you look back over the years, especially when you start off in the TV entertainment and film industry. Again, everyone has to start at the bottom and you have to keep persevering. So there's a lot of rejection, a lot of knockback. I mean, obviously being a singer, songwriter and actress myself, when castings come up, you can't take it personally. You just keep going. Eventually the right doors open at the right time. And, you've been very fortunate with your path, with the wonderful people that come in, the celebrities, and having the opportunity to actually meet them and interview them as well. So you've been very, very blessed, Chris, haven't you?
Oh yeah, so blessed. And that's what I love about our restaurant too. We've even interviewed Caskey in our restaurant. My wife's interviewed Devin Thorpe. He's interviewed Bill Gates 2 times and like over 100 influential people. And we've interviewed all kinds of people in our restaurant. And it's funny because we just opened up a second location on an Air Force base in New Mexico, Holloman Air Force Base. And that's what kind of like had us going out there to Roswell and stuff. So it's like, we've been open now, I think a little bit over 6 months, and we just went back out there for an air show and got to see the Thunderbirds, and that was amazing.
I was going to mention Thunderbirds later on, actually.
Did you get some selfies as well, Chris?
Oh yeah. Got to meet pilots, and they had all kinds of cool military vehicles out there, and they were growing up all kinds of good food, and they had music going and the sun. It was just so beautiful. And I've only been to one other air show, which was Hill Air Force Base out here in Utah. So it's interesting to go out and experience that one in New Mexico, and so, yeah, it's like, it's crazy how far, again, it all goes back to, Irie's place. We interviewed, someone in cosplay, and then, start doing our own shows, and then travel shows and paranormal shows. And, it's come a long way, and I'm just so grateful for my family and our restaurant and our production company and our community and our friends and family that love us and believe in us. Because like you said, being an entrepreneur, whether you're a musician or a CEO or filmmaker or a cook, whatever you want to be, you're going to get a lot of rejections. There's Sean Reyes, the Attorney General. But yeah, you're going to get a lot of rejections, a lot of no's. And there's, at first it hurts and it's hard, but you got to turn that into fuel. You got to.
Definitely.
You got to have that motivate you. You
Yes.
can't be scared and be like, oh, they don't like me, oh, they don't want me. Something that really helps me as an entrepreneur is I like researching a lot of positive quotes, a lot of positive affirmations, a lot of positive people, you know what I'm saying, that tell you just keep pushing. And the whole point is I read something that said that, like, when you're going after something in life, you're probably going to get 100 no's before you get one yes.
So true.
So I was like, okay, let me just start banging my head against the wall and getting through those 100 no's until I get to that one yes. Because when I finally get that one yes and someone that's on my side and opens the door for me and gives me an opportunity one way or another, I'm that much closer and that much closer to get to where I want to go. So, you know, you can't be scared. You can't be worried. You know, you just got to show up, do your best, you know, and if it's not good enough, then those aren't the people that you're meant to work with.
No,
because you'll find out that a lot of people you thought you wanted to work with, you don't want to work with those kind of people.
But it's surround yourself with positive, loving people who, you know, support you on your path, and you know, you support one another. Then, but I'm a true believer in gratitude, kindness, being kind to one another, and supporting one another as well, because you never know what people are going through.
Exactly.
Empowering, not disempowering people. I think there's so many people still that try to disempower people even when they're succeeding or doing really well, but they don't realize how hard each individual's worked in their lifetime on their path, and the amount of knockbacks that they may have had, but they've never given up. They've kept going, and same with you. So I'm really proud of you and everything that you've overcome, everything that you've achieved and will continue to achieve, and keep shining bright, Chris.
I appreciate that. It means a lot, especially from you, and I love you and appreciate you. And I'm so grateful for our interactions and conversations and all the love and light and positivity we try to put out in our daily lives. And that's why I love it when we come together and put it out. And
Anthony as well.
For real.
Anthony does phenomenal work, and I'm really proud of you, Anthony, too. And it's lovely to get Anthony more involved and in the hot seat and presenting now.
For real. And let's in the future, whatever projects you guys want to work on, you know, just reach out to me, and let's, you know, my network's your network and vice versa, you know.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really kind of you. Now, we're coming to an end now, Chris. I mean, we could interview you for hours.
And I could talk for hours.
But how can people get in contact with you? You know, through social media? Have you got a website? How can people get in contact with you? Say, for instance, you know, Guerrilla Mafia Entertainment. Also,
heck yeah.
You know, Iris Coffee at Bobo's. How can people contact you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, it's Iris Place, Guerrilla Mafia Entertainment, and then mine is Chris_Newhart_ aka_ Superman. My wife is Empress Rude, and on Facebook it's Gwen Allen and Chris Newhart, and then you can reach us on our business page on Iris Place and Guerrilla Mafia Entertainment, and we can help you with all your music videos and promotions and advertising and bookings and whatever you need, we got you.
Oh, thank you so much.
If you send me information, Chris, I'll do a follow-up video to this interview, and I'll put all your information into the video, so everything will be there for you.
Heck yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you, Anthony.
I'm good at it.
Heck yeah, proficient.
You've also got Show Your Cosplay as well, haven't you, on Facebook and Instagram? That's another page of yours that I noticed you've got.
Heck yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for allowing Anthony and myself to interview you. And
welcome to my spaceship.
Yes,
and we're matching
just before Christmas, Chris, to see what else you've been up to, and have you back on in the hot seats with Deborah Fennella and Anthony James Mattocks. So thank you so much. Namaste. Keep shining bright, and till we see you again.
Namaste. Much love and respect.
Namaste.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bless you. Bless you.